For the 7th time this year, you are most welcome. We've had 6 of these sessions before, and for those of you who've joined our previous sessions, Benedicta was the main presenter, and she's on leave. So today you'll see a few new faces from the IDZ. But you are welcome, and we hope that you enjoy the session today and learn from the IDZ as much as possible, because that is our objective. We will kick off today's session with a video of one of the businesses joined the IDZ. As we did previously, we featured some of the small businesses, as you may have known if you've attended the previous sessions. So today we'll kick off the session with a video of a co-op. Enjoy.
My name is Joe Miller. I'm the Secretary of the West Coast Marine and General Engineering Co-op. We comprise 5 businesses covering ship repair and maintenance, marine electrical, corrosion control, craneage and rigging, plant maintenance and repairs, hydraulics, pneumatics and instrumentation. We intend using these disciplines as a skills transfer in the Saldanha Bay area. We've been working as individuals for about 30 years or more in the harbour area. We have realized that because of the size of our businesses, we only qualify for small contracts. Since joining as 5 businesses under one roof in a co-op, pooling our resources and expertise, we now qualify for bigger contracts. We started talking about working together about 15 years ago, but because of the nature of the work in the harbour, we were kept apart. In 2010, because of the downturn in the economy, we were allowed to come together as 3 businesses and form CGR Quality Control. Since then, we've followed the Pakisha rollout plan, which brought us to the Saldanha Bay area, and we were advised then to start a co-op. Since then, we've joined the Saldanha Bay IDZ database and also the West Coast Business Development Centre database. Collectively, we employ 20 individuals, and as the job requires, we expand to about 50 or more personnel covering different skill sets in the marine and engineering fields. Coming together as a co-op, bringing 5 businesses under one roof, means that the client can deal with one vendor instead of 5 vendors at a time. Also, we have a government buy-in and support, industry support as well. We have established ourselves in the oil and gas industry. Our previous experience covers working with companies such as DCD Doorbell, Dormac, EBH, Saipem, Transocean, Chevron, and many other oil and gas companies. We already have experience in the oil and gas industry for many years, working on the oil and gas. We also understand the requirements and compliances required for oil and gas work. Thus far, we have embarked on the certification of ISO 9001/2008, and we've had our first state audit. We are also members of the South African Oil and Gas Alliance. Our initial objective was to transfer skills leading to business opportunities and economic empowerment to the local communities of the West Coast, and this still remains our purpose.
Thank you. Good job, Joe. Continuing with our presentation today, we will have a few presenters, one of which would be Kashifa Bukas. Kashifa is our Executive for Stakeholder Relations. She was born and raised in PE and is a civil engineer with 10 years experience in the field. We will also have Nokuthula Manensa, who has a bachelor's degree in business administration, 6 years experience in the construction and business development area, and she's passionate about investor promotions, which is a big part of her job at the IDZ. She's currently an associate in the business development field at the IDZ. And this one you know. My name is Abigail Murray. I'm the associate for enterprise development at the IDZ, and I have 8 years experience in the SMME development field. This slide speaks to what we've covered thus far with the Togasi series. Benedicta handled most of it, as Benedicta has vast experience in the oil and gas industry, onshore and offshore. We've handled introduction to the oil and gas industry, what the oil and gas industry entails, what rigs are, what people do with rigs, and then what's going to happen with the rigs in the Saldanha port as we know it. She spoke about components of the offshore industry, and then oil rigs jobs. What kind of jobs can you expect to have an oil rig? Where do you start and where do you end? And she spoke about life offshore. How do they entertain themselves and so on. It was quite fun. And then the repair and fabrication work. And then she also spoke about the supply value chain in our last session. So today we will talk a bit about the future of the Saldanha Bay IDZ and collaboration with the Saldanha Bay municipality. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Kashi Fabiukas, who will handle the first section of the presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I haven't seen many of you for a while. I apologize for that. But when Benedicta said that she needed somebody to speak today, I gladly accepted. So I think what I'd like to share with you today is the SBIDZ. What Benedicta and Abigail have been taking you through in the previous 6 sessions is what the oil and gas industry is, and all of the different jobs, all the different activities that take place in this upstream oil and gas field. But then what I'd like to show you is what does that mean for Saldanha, and in particular, what will the IDZ then look like. So I'm sure you're quite well aware of this, but in essence, the Saldanha Bay IDZ is a catalyst for economic development and job creation in this region. And we work towards that goal. And our vision is to create a world-class oil and gas services hub, as the ones that Benedicta showed you through the previous 6 Togasi series. Essentially what that means is Saldanha and South Africa is putting its hands up to compete in a global economy, in a global industry. And so that's why Saldanha and the businesses that come here and the businesses that are already here need to be of a world-class standard. What do we do in terms of the licensing company is we provide the land-based infrastructure. So the contracts that are happening right now, the activity that you see on the land, we're servicing the land to allow the developers and the investors that will be coming access to the land so that they can put up their factories, their warehouses, their offices as they will require. We promote and market the zone, which is what Nokotula does in the business development unit. We go out there locally and abroad and market the IDZ. We facilitate enterprise and skills development because this is very important, and this is really the reason of Togasi, where it stemmed from, is that we're marketing the zone, we're attracting people into the zone, but it's also about understanding that here within Saldanha, there lies a market already. And I think from the video clips that you've seen in the previous Togasi series, you'll see there are companies here, local companies, that are active in this industry already. But maybe they need a bit of help to broaden their horizons, to allow them access to more clients. And that's why certification and the ISO standards are so important, which we will be discussing later. And then also that we need a labor force to do the work of this high standard that we are marketing, that we're standing up and shouting that we can do, that we will be able to do. So that's why we do skills development. And my colleague Patrick Lakabani, he runs many skills development programs in that regard. And then at the heart of it, because this is a commercial endeavor, for the businesses wanting to participate in the zone. And in order to attract and market the zone, we need to say that it'll be easy for you to do business in the zone. So that's why we call it the ease of doing business, and that's what Benedicta runs. It's about really understanding, you know, to register a company, to get your tax clearance certificates, to register for incentives or finance or customs or with SARS. It's all about the things that make it difficult to do business and trying to remove them. And not just in the government sense of what I said now, but also in the private sector. Does the businesses that will do the businesses that will be coming here and the businesses that are here, do you have access to finance, the financial institutions? What role can they play to help you? So those are the things that we do. And I think this picture really sums up our mandate, but also tries to elaborate on the different role players that are involved in making the IDZ a success in Saldanha. You have the government and all the agencies that give us the laws and the acts that we need to adhere to, and the environment that they create. And then you have the businesses, the suppliers, the industry-specific suppliers, and then you have the operators and the specialized services. And I think those three blocks in the middle really speak to what Benny's been talking about, Benedicta has been talking about. It is the different types of companies, the different types of enterprises that are required in this big picture of having a cluster development in the IDZ. You can call it a cluster or a hub, it's the same thing. Then understanding also there's various institutions, research and education that then are needed to develop new ideas, new skills, to develop maybe an entrepreneur further who has a good idea and a passion for doing it. Then also understanding that the IDZ and the oil and gas industry is not going to be working in isolation. We depend on many other industries in South Africa, across South Africa and internationally, to do this work that we're wanting to do here. So there's various other industries, heavy machinery, marine equipment, chemical manufacturing, production technology. It's all the other things that will make the whole a better space. I think in terms of a picture that I'd like to paint for you before I hand over to Nokutula, she's going to be having a similar slide, but I want you to show you that all the things and all the activities that Benedicta has been speaking of, where are they located within the zone? These are the activities and the jobs and the enterprises that are going to be setting up in the zone. It's a tangible thing. It's a boundary. It's a fenced-off place. But I think the important thing that I'd like to leave you with is, yes, there are companies that have a place within the zone, but there are also the companies that we see from the different videos that we've been showing you, that have a place outside the zone, but in this local area. And so there's these linkages of the towns here, of Saldanha, of Vredenburg, of Langebaan, and all the other surrounding towns that need to feed into the IDZ, into this port-based cluster. And with that, I'd like to hand over to Nokutula.
Good morning. Goeiemorgen, Molweni. My name is Nokutula, and I work for the Saldanha Bay IDZ Licensing Company under the Business Development Unit. Thank you, Kashifa. So I'd like to take you through to what the Business Development Unit does. What do we do? As my colleague has mentioned, that we promote and market the zone to potential investors. So we're essentially responsible for and oversee investor promotion by promoting and marketing the zone to the following in no particular order. Okay. We have identified 3 major oil and gas conferences that happen at home and abroad. And we host inward delegation and outward missions. We attend all the oil and gas exhibitions and events and networking events that are oil and gas associated. We have engagement or investor meetings with potential investors, and we would still like to continue doing so to increase value proposition and future investment into the zone. Okay, so the question would be, who are we talking to and who are we marketing and promoting to? So investor interest lies on those 5 categories, which my colleague has already alluded in. So anyone who falls into any of those 5 categories we'd like to speak to, and we are speaking to some, but I would like to emphasize that we want to be speaking to more local investors that fall into any of those categories. So I'm going to show you a slide that is a bit more clearer and explaining what those 5 categories contain. So we have repair and maintenance. So the video that was shown at the beginning, it was mostly speaking to the first part of those categories. So anyone, we're looking into engaging and meeting with anyone that is in maintaining, repairing and upgrading of the oil rigs and vessels that are going to be coming in and out of the Saldanha Bay port. Anyone who does inspection and certification of those oil rigs and vessels. Anyone in fabrication, meaning anyone that makes the parts or spare parts that are going to be used in maintaining and repairing those vessels that are coming. The third aspect is the communal services. So that would be anyone that does property development, security, anyone in medical, and anyone in catering, because the crew that will be in those oil rigs need to be fed and they need to eat. The last aspect, that is supply and other services. So logistics, on the video again, we heard more of the logistics. So anyone that does the logistic and transporting, anyone, the moving and lifting and stocking of components that are going to be used in the maintaining, in the repairing, and in the upgrading of the vessels and oil rigs. Those are the people that we'd like to engage with locally. And those are the people that we'd like them to come forward and meet with us and try and understand where they are currently and how and where they could really fit in the zone and becoming an investor in the zone. So we, as the business development unit, we have external stakeholders. We mentioned a few because we couldn't put everyone onto the slide, but the focus today is on the financial institutions. As my colleague has mentioned, that at times we do identify, or companies are there and ready to invest into the zone because they fit into those 5 categories. But the only thing that stands between them and becoming an investor in the zone, it's financial constraints. Therefore, we have established solid friendships or solid relationships with various financial institutions that had indicated to us that they are willing to come to listen to all the companies or all the potential investors that want to locate in the zone but have those difficulties. So they're willing to listen to them, assist them, and sort of point them into the right direction. So as the IDZ, as the business development unit for the IDZ, we're more than happy to then put those companies in touch with the financial institutions that we already have contacts with and solid relationships with. We're happy to facilitate those, but they need to come forward. They need to, those companies, they need to then understand and they need to know that there is a space for them and there are various ways for them to be able to be investors in their own region. Yeah, that's it. I'd like to hand over to Abigail.
From my side, if you've attended the previous sessions, you would have heard what our enterprise development plans are and how we plan to execute it going forward. We thought we will just mention it again because it kind of leads into the following presentation. And it also links into what Kashifa said and what Nokutula said, and then the entire story with Benny and everything. So there's a place for everything. And it's encouraging to know that enterprise development features so high in the vision and the mission of the IDZ. And that should be encouraging for all small businesses to continue what they're doing. I mean, the fact that you are here shows that you want to develop your business and you are as interested in this industry as we are, and as excited for the prospects that we foresee for Saldanha Bay. So what I'll do, I'll talk again about our strategic framework, the industry requirements, and then international compliance. The strategic framework with regard to enterprise development, like we said before, we have short, medium, and long-term objectives. Our short-term objectives included the establishment of the IDZ Business Forum, and then this Togazi series. The IDZ Business Forum is 8 member-based organizations within the Saldanha Bay region that get together on a monthly basis to discuss what the IDZ is doing with regard to enterprise development and keep the community abreast on what the IDZ is busy doing with regard to tenders and RFQs. All these organizations have member-based organizations, so each organization has a database of their own. It includes the Saldanha Bay Saakkamer, the Women in Construction, Saldanha Bay Black Women's Association, the Tourism Organization, the West Coast Business Development Center, the West Coast Social Economic Development Forum, and the Saldanha Bay IDZ is just one member of this forum as well. The Togazi series is where we are at the moment, and like Nokutula also mentioned, the objective of this session is to inform about the oil and gas industry, but then also to inspire each other, the small businesses. When you look at Joe's video this morning, he spoke about where they started, how 4 or 5 businesses got together to strengthen their offering, and the previous businesses that we featured were the same. Businesses that started in garages grew from, running the business out of the home into having well-established businesses in town. And that is really what we wanted, our objective with the Togazi series. And I feel proud to say that we've made great strides in our short-term objectives. And then with our medium-term objectives, we have funding-driven support programs, an integrated enterprise development system that we want to do, and then a business training support via DTI funding. So we've engaged the DTI and we've engaged some of the corporate companies in the area to work on this integrated system where we will work from one system with all the entrepreneurs in the area, all the small businesses. Being a medium-term project, we are still busy with that project, but when I spoke to Moketsi yesterday, I told him that we've actually worked on all of these objectives of ours, both medium and even in the long term. Our long-term support program has to do with what Kashifa has alluded to with the standards of the industry. Saldanha, as it stands, has industries like ArcelorMittal and Tronox and Sea Harvest and so on, but this industry is totally a new one, and we want to introduce the international standards. We want our small businesses to be aware of the importance of that, and then also introduce partners that can help us attain these standards. This slide has to do with what we foresee the industry requirements would be, and then also part of the Togazi series is for the small businesses to ascertain where your business is, where do you fit in, and then how will you going forward develop your business to at best provide for the industry. The ring on the outside is indirect services, and we see with our database that we've also been working on since the inception, is that the local community will more play in that space. They don't like to hear that because there are businesses like Kashifa said that can play in the middle ring with environmental services and specialist trades, site preparation, inspections, the civils and the mechanicals like Joe's also proven. Our enterprise development partners, people that we've worked with so far, include the DTI, corporates that I've mentioned. We've also worked with the University of the Western Cape and the Department of Economic Development and Tourism. We won't have all our partners speak today, but we have invited the West Coast Business Development Centre, the Transnet Hub, Trio Plus Development, G3, the National Youth Development Agency. So when you have time and networking later, you can speak to all of them, because they all have an important offering in furthering your small business. I then also want to introduce another speaker that is also a small business operating in our area. And he will explain the importance of his line of work pertaining to the oil and gas industry. I don't know if you can join us.
8 years ago when I came to the West Coast, I never thought that we would be sitting with a massive oil and gas industry busy happening right under our noses. I didn't even know about the oil and gas industry developing in this region until I did some traveling overseas, and the overseas people started to tell me about what's happening in Saldanha. And it's quite amazing the season that we're in. But with that new season, I think I'm the only speaker this morning that does not actually work directly for the IDZ. I'm the Group Managing Director for a group of companies, Essential Compliance, Legal Compliance Advisors, and Siakatala, which actually means we care. Now, we focus on getting people to comply with what you need to be able to work within this industry. I was fortunate to work in the international compliance industry in Europe and abroad for about 7 years. And the focus is professional international compliance. That's the standard. Kashifa mentioned international standard. A lot of local companies, and I actually refer to South African companies across South Africa, shy away from dealing with the big internationals because they don't have the international standards in place. What we currently do, we work with a lot of companies to help them set up, establish the ISO, but also the occupational health and safety, the OSHAS standards. If you want to work with the big guys out there, you have to have these in place. It's a non-negotiable. So, in short, if you want to work within that industry, it's non-negotiable. So, oil and gas, although it's a discipline in its own, still work on the base platforms of ISO, your quality, your environmental, and your occupational health and safety standards, with the additional oil and gas standards added to that. And our job is just to interact with local businesses. We've got a national platform. Yes, we're a small business. We're a small team of professionals in the Western Cape, but we've also got a platform now in Gauteng, where we deal with locally based companies who want to get involved. And we're all in a preparation phase. Yes, some of us are directly working in the harbours in some arenas, but a lot of us are still in preparation phase. And I want to put the emphasis on preparation. If you haven't started considering international standards within your organization, not just ISOs, but your occupational health and safety, I would strongly recommend that you start with that process, because by the time the big industry will be happening right here in the West Coast, you have to have compliance history already to present as evidence that you are up to speed with what the international guys want to see in place. Through the process, I got a bit frustrated 4 years ago when I started to hear about all this oil and gas, and I wanted to find out how can I get myself and my teams qualified and prepared for the oil and gas. And to my greatest frustration, I found that I'll have to go to Singapore or to many other different international locations to get myself qualified and certified in oil and gas, until I found the Atlas Corporation. They invited us over. I spent quite a bit of time overseas in the last 2 years, and we managed to bring the world's largest e-learning platform for oil and gas right to Saldanha. We're a certified international oil and gas certified e-learning provider. Now, people always ask the question, will it be recognized? This is an international company. We represent them in South Africa. We're one of their business partners in South Africa, Southern Africa, in Saldanha, very proud to say. And they obviously conform to all the standards. They've got international unit standards, oil and gas, ISOs. It's specifically for oil and gas, but also for the general industry. So you can, in the comfort of your office, home, you can actually do internationally certified oil and gas training. We partnered with the West Coast Business Development Centre, where we have a Invigilation Centre, where you can do some of the courses which is required to be done under invigilation. For example, the IMIST. If you work in the oil and gas industry, IMIST will be familiar to you, International Minimum Industry Safety Standard, training for health and safety. It's a course that you have to do, otherwise you can't get close to a rig. AGT, authorized gas testing. These kind of things have to be done through an invigilation centre. We have a fully functional invigilation centre, certified and accredited by Atlas International Knowledge, and you can get your international certificate right here in Saldanha. They also just launched BTEC, which is a national certificate in oil and gas upstream. You can also do that via e-learning. And the amazing thing, it's affordable and it's available right here under our noses. So there's over 1,000 international certified e-learning courses that you can do. You see, maths immediately caught my eye there because I'm not good at maths, and you can actually do baseline to fairly advanced maths training via e-learning. Because we're in Saldanha, because we're far away from a lot of big institutions, and internationally the focus is e-learning. Get people skills uplifted, get people qualified, and because we're far away, it's sometimes difficult to get to these facilities. So we're very proud to say, and we're part of that educational process to get people qualified and prepared and ready. So when you want to knock on the oil and gas industry's door, you can present qualification, you can present international standard systems in place, and it just opens doors, and it's a privilege for us to be working in this arena. Abigail, thank you very much.
Thank you, Arjan. That concludes our session for today. I trust that you've learned as much as possible. Those are our email addresses if you want to chat to us going forward. You're welcome to join us for a cup of coffee. And if I don't see you the rest of the year, have a good Christmas. And I think it's just appropriate for me to then also thank the team for their help and assistance for the year gone by and the previous sessions. A special thank you to Benedicta in her absence, to our marketing team, Senzo and Marushka in the background. It's not people that you see on the podium, but people hard at work. And then also Koma for their videography, and Kash Van Dyk for always being here. So enjoy the networking session. We will stick around to answer your questions. And I think you will hear from us via email on how we continue the sessions, and then also how the videos and things that we've done will be made available to you. So thank you so much for supporting the Togassi series thus far, and as always, good luck with your businesses. Thank you.